For all you steep swingers of the golf club out there and senior golfers, this lesson today is for you. Let's go check it out and see how we're going to get hitting better golf shots. So recently I've had quite a lot of senior golfers coming to me for lessons, and also seen a similar trait from people who are swinging the golf club steeply. And I've used this drill now a couple of times, and I want to share it with you guys, that in the hope that if you are a senior golfer and you're struggling and you're someone who swings the club a little bit steeply, this drill, this sort of two-stage drill, is going to help you get away from that and start to see that we get rid of those big fat shots where we're seeing the club really burying down into the ground. We're seeing very flat flights from a lot of the clubs, and we're not just getting the consistency we want, we're not getting the distance, we're not getting the strike, and overall it can be quite frustrating. So two drills here, or two stages to one drill, that I want you to go through, that I've seen work now with 4 or 5 chaps and really seen a difference in their shots, and really from their feedback feels, you know, a million times better. So let's have a look at it right now. Okay, so the steep swing, what do I mean by that firstly? Well, what I'm talking about is once I've addressed the golf ball here and we look from this camera angle, what I see, and you know, not to generalize, but this is what I've seen from quite a lot of the senior golfers and, you know, the steep swingers, is that in the setup we position our golf club behind the golf ball like so, and if we had a line coming up the shaft here, that should be the angle that the club ideally worked around. When they built it, they did a pretty good job of making the angles right for us to try and deliver the club on. Now, whether it's because of a lack of flexibility, feeling that I've not got the ability to turn as much as I used to when I might have been a younger golfer, what I was tending to see was that the club now was picked up due to a lack of rotation in the body. So in the backswing we see a little bit of movement here, but then very quickly this club comes sort of under the line and then up above the line, leading to something where the club almost looks a bit like a lightning rod now, and the shaft is pointing vertically up towards the sky. From here then, what generally was happening was the club was coming back down over the top of the line, and also the face generally was getting quite hooded and almost being delivered into more of a bit of a hitting too much down on it, dropping the club onto the golf ball, and resulting in, you know, some shots where we would see this a little bit more, where it was quite low as we were going out there and not getting my desired flight. So, you know, it's not what we want. It's not the sort of nice brushing motion. Yes, I want a tiny divot. I might just feel like I'm actually cutting the grass a little bit, but I don't want to be feeling that I'm really trapping the golf ball, not getting any launch on the golf ball, particularly because, you know, maybe as a senior golfer more, we might feel that we're lacking in distance because I'm not actually getting the ball airborne as I'm going through it. So I don't see my total distance going up. So what we've got to try and get away from is this uplifting in the backswing and then dropping in the downswing. We actually want a little bit more of a rounded motion as we're going on. So the first thing that I would like you to do, and I sort of explained this to one of the guys that I had in yesterday, was all about, well, let's take your shoulders as sort of a baseline for us. As you're swinging at the moment, the shaft in particular works very much in front of the shoulders and very much up above vertically. So as we're getting up here, and even from the camera angle here, we would see this sort of picture here where I've not got a lot of turn and the shaft is straight up there. My hands might get above my shoulder level, they might sit a little bit low, but what we see is this a little bit here. And what I said was, well, if we think of our thumbs as we start off, we take our good grip and we place them on there looking down towards the club head. When you swing back now, generally they point behind you very quickly and then they point up towards the sky. So the first part of the drill was that I said to the chap, I said, I want you to feel now that you're going to get your thumbs very quickly pointed behind you and underneath your shoulder, with the butt of the club looking more towards, I've got my cameras in the studio, I said I want you to get the butt of the club looking into my camera there. So it would be a feeling a bit more of this. So then we would see from the camera angle down here that as I work the club round in that manner, I feel now that the shaft has got a lot flatter. It's worked underneath this trail elbow I've not lifted it up into position. And automatically when we started to have a few of these positions, because I'm feeling more rounded in my swing, I'm actually getting more of a rounded arc instead of a vertical arc, straight away the body was turning a little bit more. We may have seen all the tips as well about the lead heel lifting up. I'm totally okay with that. So if we feel that we need to lift the lead heel in this motion, that's fine, but we would want to feel a little bit more rounded from there. So I got the chat to say, well, in the backswing, if we get them under the shoulder, how about on the follow through, we feel the same thing. So if you were swinging under a ledge here, if we had a bit of a, you know, a fence line that we had to work under, I'd be a bit more around and a bit more around here. So all of a sudden it opened up the body. The club was working on a more arcuate plane here instead of this vertical plane. I got around this way and I got around this way. I said, that's great. Let's hit one off. Let's see if we can get a shot away like that. So from there then, we just tried to hit one off, peg it up. I would always say as well, when you're trying these drills, just to give yourself a little bit of leeway on your strike. So let's just get a few away. 7 or 8 iron, 3/4 pace to your swing. You don't have to mash it. Let's just feel that as we take the swing, we're working it under the shoulders with the thumbs pointing behind us and under the shoulder. And then on the way through, behind and under the shoulder. So as we started to see this happen, what we found was we got some, and not my best there, a little bit skinny for me, but I was feeling a little bit more arced as I went through. And we would see that still the little bit of steepness would come in now and again, because, you know, how many golf swings have you made where you've lifted it up? So I said, well, let's progress the drill a little bit more. What I want us to do now, if we take an alignment cane, and I take the club that I'm using, I place this down on the ground to the club length. I could see where I need to place my alignment cane now on the angle of the club that I'm using. 1 club length away behind my back foot. What I want us to do is take that, then get driver head cover, whatever it may be, a sponge or something, place it in just outside the golf ball and in front. And then also what I want you to do is get your golf ball and peg it up at driver height, because when we get these steep swings, like I said earlier, the club's coming down on a very vertical arc here. So as it comes down, we get this big trapping motion. The whole premise of this is getting the club to feel like it's sweeping the ball away a little bit more. I don't want to smash it into the ground. I want to get a nice graze and sweep it. You don't have to take a huge divot. Like I said earlier, it might be that you feel you just sort of mow the grass a little bit with the leading edge of the golf club. So once we got this drill set up here, and I actually got the couple of chaps to actually just feel that they were, again, just all about the thumbs when we're thinking about swinging the golf club. The thumbs pointing below the shoulder and behind me. As I was coming through, I just said, well, let's set up to the tee and let's see if we can actually just crush that tee away a few times in there. Nice little graze for me, so I'd put another one down at the driving range a bit easier because we've got the rubber tees. But as we go through again, all about feeling slightly under, thumbs below my shoulder pointing off behind me, back down, I'm turning, I clip the tee and I work around. So I'm feeling more rotation and I'm feeling that I'm getting this rounded golf swing. Then, this is the tester for you. If you're getting really good at this, what we should start to do is be able to sweep the golf club off. The golf ball off, because if you don't, you're going to hit this part of your iron here and the ball will flop off the tee a little bit too much. So as you would go through, we've got to make sure that we feel that we're rounded and then sweeping the 7-iron off a driver tee to help me get a little bit shallower. So all about thumbs behind us, underneath the shoulder, feeling a little bit more rounded here. The iron head cover is in there because if I did go over the cane, I'm going to be out to in and I would hit the driver head cover as I go through. So good grip. You'll feel a little bit more upright here, but then try and get this feeling of the thumbs under the shoulders, feeling behind us, And even there now, lovely little clip off, and I see more of a draw as well because I'm getting a little bit more in to out and then back around on my arc as I go through. So 2 stages to that drill, and then once you've gone through it, maybe leave the cane up or not, but then progress to down on the ground, feeling thumbs under your shoulders. I think that was sort of the real key for me when I've been doing this with some of my lessons, is that when we get this position here, we really start to let it drop back down and feel this little graze and then fold it off around. And like I say, it helps with the rotation and helps us get that little bit more rounded. So if you are that steep swinger of the golf club, if you're a senior golfer and you feel like you're just lifting the club up and drop it down, let's get that feeling. Thumbs behind us, under the shoulder with the butt pointing out in front. Same on the way through, and we'll start to see that more rounded arc, and from there we should stop to get that steepness happening in the backswing and the through swing. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed that. That was just a little bit of a story and a lesson that I've given to one of my, or a couple of my students recently, and I just wanted to share it with you because I've seen so much success with it already. So give it a go, and I would persist with the ball off the higher tee. If you can get there and you're picking it off really nicely, drop down onto the ground and just keep doing that, and you'll see that your strikes are so much better. It won't be that horrible trappy, just squirty, horrible shot. Works with all clubs. Give it a go. Let me know how it is. Guys, thanks for watching. Always hit that subscribe button down below. I want you to get better at golf. You're going to do that with your free lessons here with me on the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in your next lesson.